Good morning, everybody. I am Rodolfo Gonzalez Llanos. I am the Chief Operating Officer for Optimus Business Transformation. I have been working almost 18 years with Microsoft, focusing in particular with Dynamics, Business Solutions, ERP, and CRM, where I was a director for the region. And approximately 3 years ago, I moved into Optimus as their Chief Operating Officer. Today, we're going to be covering the marketing and sales from Dynamics 365, CRM, also known as customer engagement, but focusing in particular around Dynamics 365 marketing and Dynamics 365 sales, and in particular, how Copilot augments and transforms those applications with artificial intelligence to make companies a lot more nimble, a lot more knowledgeable, and being able to make the right decisions. Optimus, multinational company. We're based in Miami. That's where I'm physically based also. But we're throughout offices throughout the Americas, beyond the US, as I mentioned, Puerto Rico, Trinidad, Jamaica, and Colombia, and Mexico, and other places throughout the region. Plus, we have strategic partners that helps us cover the whole world. We have had a lot of success with Microsoft Business Solutions, as well as Microsoft 365. And we're going to be talking a little bit more about that. And 2 weeks ago, we have won the Worldwide Cloud Partner of the Year for Last Retail. So that's a just recent award that covers the whole world. So now let's go with a little of insights of the speed of technology. And we have the world population is about 8 billion people. But if you look at Facebook, you look at these social media, each one of them have more reach to population higher than the largest countries in the world, like India or China. And at the same time, the adoption of technology has been increasing dramatically. You saw there, it took 75 years for the telephone to really get to reach 100 million people. Facebook, about a couple of years, TikTok, about a year, and ChatGPT, which is the base for Copilot, it took them only 2 months. So this talks about a dramatic increase in adoption of new technology. And it is both because it's simple to adopt, but at the same time, the power that it provides the company is enormous. Here in one of the slides, you saw that Copilot is not autopilot, which means it's not to replace you. It's not to do, you just can let it on its own, but increases the performance and the effectiveness of each company quite dramatically. But you still need to validate, check, and that's something that we're going to be talking about. And at the same time, this adoption increases the speed of doing commerce. You can see with the smartphone today, 40% of all e-commerce transactions happen through smartphones. So that talks about how visual, how fast it is. And this is something that artificial intelligence helps bridge that gap from text to graphics. And one thing that it is clear is that yes, there will be jobs being eliminated. This is something that happened through the Industrial Revolution when people went from farms to the city. And now it's going to happen again, as you see at this moment, that 85 million jobs will be eliminated, but at the same time, 95 jobs will be created. So there's going to be a shift, and a productive shift into this new technology. There you can see that that wheelchair that was completely automated. That's something that happened to me once. Was through a very bad bicycle accident, and it took me 1 hour to get a wheelchair, because you would have to have at this moment, at that moment, you would have to have many people being able to drive wheelchairs. So if you had many planes arriving at the same time, you never had enough people, but you cannot hire enough people for all that. And it's interesting that now with this new technology, you can have many wheelchairs, and based on peaks, it is that you can adopt, that you can make them reach out to the number of people needed. And this is all just a glimpse of how technology is dramatically improving our day-to-day life. So we had we had several events like these, several webinars, and this is actually the 10th webinar that we had in the last 3 or 4 weeks. And we're going to be talking more about how you can reach out to all those recordings from the previous webinars. We had two last week, one that covered Microsoft 365, so kind of Office. I'm going to be talking a little more about that. And then we had another one about licensing. So today I'm going to be covering licensing very high level. But I encourage you to go to that webinar which is a short webinar that you can go into the details about licensing. But we have our last webinar of this series in a couple of days, in June 12th, where we're going to be covering the food and beverage scenario, more around Dynamics bots, and also about the Dynamics 365 BC and how we leverage through food and beverage. So this is kind of the agenda for today. We're going to be doing the welcome, introduction, and agenda. We'll talk about our company and how it helps us, how we can help your companies to go through Microsoft 365 Office, or through CRM, or through Business Central and different industry scenarios, and how you can leverage Copilot or artificial intelligence in this area. We're going to cover a little what Modern Workplace and Copilot is. Then we're going to go through a business scenario by our Executive VP for Artificial Intelligence and CRM, Jorge Castro. And that's going to be the meat of this presentation, going into the detail of how those solutions can help your company. Then, as I mentioned, we're going to go briefly on licensing, for sales licensing, for what we're going to be showing today. And we're talking about going later on to Q&A. This short advertisement was presented on the Super Bowl. Cost millions of dollars just for a few seconds. And normally Microsoft doesn't talk much in those, because they're more customer focused presentation. But this goes beyond that. This has a reach to everybody, because it empowers the creativity for everybody, not just companies. So, and within companies, obviously, not only the leadership, so the creative people, but everybody can be a creator using artificial intelligence. And I'm going to give a little example we'll talk later about this, or some personal experiences. So three things that were on the video that I was talking we went fast, but I would like to stop a little more here, which is that not artificial intelligence will replace humans, but humans working with artificial intelligence will replace humans without artificial intelligence. Imagine yourself and the kind of going back 30 years ago, where Office did not exist, Word, Excel did not exist, or PowerPoint. And now move forward. And today, you think you could live without those tools with Excel? And I'm talking about Excel because being Microsoft, but you can also include any type of spreadsheet like Google Apps or anything like that. But living today with a word processor, without the internet, without a spreadsheet, one could not do the day-to-day operation. And this is what's going to happen with artificial intelligence. It is something that I use it all the time now. We were early adopters of this technology for Microsoft. We had to sign in, and we had to make some certain commitments when artificial intelligence came to be. And Microsoft has been, for several years, investing in artificial intelligence, but they made a huge leap when they invested $10 billion with ChatGPT, with an exclusive relationship, and that Microsoft can take ChatGPT to the next level. And this is and Optimus has been in that leading edge, and we have adopted it internally. So today we could not live without artificial intelligence. The person cannot live without it, and this is why we're also leveraging and we're promoting this technology dramatically. First, because we can help you, but this is something that we consider helps the whole industry. I already mentioned about Copilot. It's not autopilot. And talking about the transformational means, I was just talking one, which was Excel, Word, but it will have such a significant impact like it had at one moment the press, steam engine, electricity, the internet, that also was transformational. And this will happen even more so because it leverages all the technology that I showed in the first video. It leverages all that technology to take it to the next level. And here it's pretty worthy here, but let me talk to you about the investments that Microsoft is making and how they're making them. I already mentioned that they're spending billions of dollars, and they spent $10 billion on that relationship with ChatGPT. But now they keep investing on a quarterly basis billions of dollars in this new technology. And how they're doing it, they're embedding it into their own products. And so making them a lot more powerful than they have been, which they were powerful on its own up to now. So I'm going to go talking a little later of how it impacts, but it has a great interaction with Microsoft Teams. And this is the technology we're using it. We're recording it, and then based on that recording, you can get a transcript. Transcript means that you can get verbatim, word by word, what was said, by who it was said through the conversation. But then you can get summaries, you can get action items, everything automatically. So this is amazing what you can do in taking notes, minutes for meetings. Then on Outlook, it does help you create emails and create drafts. Also for Word, I'm going to be talking further on after Jorge presents a little about how it can be done and how I have been using it. Same thing with Copilot for PowerPoint, where you have you can give it an idea. Okay, I want to make a document with these characteristics. Like making a process or policy, and then getting into Word. And from Word, you can say into PowerPoint, okay, make out of that document make it a presentation, and with that presentation, build me some scripts that what I have to say in each one of those slides. That's amazing. On Excel, you can start analyzing financial data and whatnot. And then also, those are kind of on Microsoft or Modern Workplace or Office. And let me give you a quick definition of Microsoft Modern Workplace. So originally you had Office. Office was Word, Excel, PowerPoint, basically. And then they bundle it with additional products, and they called it Microsoft 365. So those three, Office, Excel, and Word, they added Outlook, they added Teams, they added security with Defender, and then OneNote, and now they call it Microsoft 365. And that's where we leverage the most. And then Modern Workplace is adding Power Apps, kind of the low code, no code, Power BI, also the Surface product, the laptops that are also being embedded with in the hardware itself. It's embedded the Copilot. All that's called it's called Microsoft Modern Workplace. But now on Dynamics 365 itself, they have also started embedding a lot of functionality from Copilot to expand dramatically the approach on HR. Just I'm going to be talking a little more about that. Marketing, how to create content and how to create campaigns. On sales, how you can increase significantly the professionalism and how to create proposals, answer customers and whatnot. That's going to be the focus of today's presentations on IT and finance. I'm going to be talking a little more about that after Jorge presents. And with that, I will hand over to Jorge Castro. He is our Executive Vice President for Artificial Intelligence and for Microsoft Dynamics CRM, Customer Engagement, Sales and Marketing.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Rodolfo, for the introduction. Let me try to turn on my camera. Okay, good morning, everyone. As Rodolfo mentioned, we're going to be reviewing a couple of scenarios in this demonstration today. I'm going to try to include some additional features. So let me try to share my screen. Okay. So the first scenario that we are going to be reviewing today is going to be related with customer service. The idea of the scenario is that we are going to be doing or generating some emails. So I'm going to be showing you how to interact with Outlook there. And I'm going to be interacting directly with CRM Dynamic CRM or Power Apps in this case. Okay, so the first scenario that I'm going to show you is basically on an email. And the scenario is going to be a person that wants to write to a support team just to inform that is having some issues with his computer or with the platform. And I want to show you the two functionalities that are going to be available in Outlook today. So as you can see here, I have a Copilot for sales here, and I have a Copilot alone just straight here. So you could use both of them. I'm going to show you how to use it and what's the difference. Basically, if you use Copilot for sales, you could click here and draft an email, and you could create a draft. Okay. And the Copilot is going to generate an email with the instructions that you define it. The good thing here is that you could click here in adjust draft, and you could define if you want to make it longer, if you want to make it a little bit more formal, If you want to suggest a meeting to the person, so you could include a couple of options. And additionally, you could translate the email onto some other languages that are available yet now. And additionally, if you want to include a specific detail in terms of discount or in terms of something that you want to highlight in the email, you could include it here. And Copilot is, let's do it longer and let's do it a little bit more formal. And I'm gonna update, and Copilot is going to generate the email again. And you could just click on add to the email, and that's it. That's the email that you could generate with Copilot for sale. Uh, if you don't want to use Copilot for sales, if you want to try the other one that is the regular one, basically you need to just click here and draft with Copilot. It's going to appear something similar. You could just write here what do you want to generate, and you want to, I mean, you could click on adjust, and you could define the tone, and you could define the length. But as you can see here, you cannot define, for example, the suggested schedule or the language, or you cannot add a specific test. It's going to be more concrete or more limited. So if you want to generate that, it's going to generate it straight here, and actually, it's going to generate a shorter version. You could click on keep, and it's going to just paste the test directly in your email. So it's different, of course. I think that the Copilot for Sales is going to generate a more structured email, but both of them work pretty well. And additionally, if you write your own email and you want to validate with Copilot, you could just click here on Coaching by Copilot, and Copilot is going to review your email and it's going to suggest you things in terms of the redaction that you are including. So those are the functionalities that are going to be available here. And I already explained you how to use it directly in Outlook. So now let's go a bit more in the dynamic side. Of course, you could generate the email directly in Outlook as well. And actually you could create the email here and relate the email directly to something that is happening in Dynamic CRM, for example. What does it mean? Let's say that I want to write this email, but I want to click here on Dynamics 365, and I want to relate this email to a specific case or a specific ticket that I already have in the CRM side. So you could just write an email here, and in the regarding, you could just, for example, here, this is the Dynamics 365 integration that is native. So you could just select the case here, and if you define the case here, the email is going to be sent to the person, but it's going to be related directly to the CRM immediately. So that's a good way to do it. Actually, when I send an email directly, I think that's better because you could include images and some other things. So that's a way to do the relationship there. So just write an email, and after that, just use the Dynamics 365 add-on. And you are going to be able to relay the email to the case. Let's say that you are in well, the other way to do it, and continue with customer services. Let's say that you are in Dynamics CRM or just in the cases, and you want to review what happened with a specific case. So let's say that you have a case, and I mean, probably you have a couple of interaction with the customers. Some emails are traveling and back and forth emailing. So you don't want to read the whole history of the case. So you just need to come here to the summary. You just need to click here, and Copilot is going to review the emails. It's going to review all the interactions that you previously had with the customer, and it's going to provide you here with a case. Something, I mean, and the summary is pretty concrete, and it's going to include all the main things that you just talk with the customer. So it's a really powerful functionality because it's allowing you to do that. If you want to generate emails, you could do it as well using Copilot. You just need to come here to activities and generate an email. And you're going to be able to generate emails using Copilot. Um, or additionally, if you want, you could, let me see, or if you want, you could generate emails using ChatGPT as well. I'm going to show you the ChatGPT functionality. We just integrated with our CRM, but it's going to be possible with Copilot as well. Actually, we previously integrated with Copilot because it was released previously, but now we are just migrating to integrate it with Copilot or using the Copilot one. So basically here, hi, we identify blah, blah, blah. So you could just write here whatever you consider that you're going to be sending to the customer. You can just open the one. Well, it's not, I don't know why it's generating that. But the idea is that, let me go back to the case a moment. You could use it in the email answer, or you could use it in the resolution. For example, if you are going to send a resolution to the customer, you could just have the resolution here. You could define if you want to transfer to English or if you want to translate to Spanish. And if you click here, the CRM is going to interact with the ChatGPT API and is going to suggest you here a better way to write the test. So that's a way to do it. And I want to show you not just the Copilot functionality, the ChatGPT functionality as well. But basically we are moving to use the Copilot one, just to have everything integrated with Copilot here. Okay, so on the customer service side, you could use it basically for redaction, for summary. And basically in the customer service side, that's the functionality. I will be back in on CRM just to show you the sales functionality. I'm just trying to cover customer service, and after that, I'm going to pass to sales. In the customer service side, it's going to be useful as well when you talk with a customer in a meeting, for example, because I mean you could interact with Copilot to ask for some additional information. Like for example, if you have a conversation like this, you could just click here in the Copilot functionality and you could start asking Copilot for different things. Like for example, I want to highlights from the past day or from the previous day. Probably is going to tell me that yesterday we didn't talk. Well, I didn't talk yesterday with this person, but if I just ask for a highlight for the past 7 days, for sure it's going to tell me what happened the last day. So it's not just, and actually I didn't record the conversation or I didn't have the transcript. I'm just asking Copilot about some things that we just already talked. Or if I want a summary, I could do it as well. Could just request for a summarize what was discussed about, and Copilot is going to review the test and is going to provide me here with a summary. If you don't want to read the summary, but you want to probably hide the ideas, you could ask him to list 5 or 3 ideas that you discussed. And again, it's going to review it, it's going to do the summary, and it's going to highlight the 5 ideas that consider that are more valuable in the conversation. If you don't pay too much attention to the conversation, but again, probably you have some action items during the conversation, you could ask him. You could ask Copilot, are there any action items for me? And it's going to review it. And it's going to tell you, okay, that's the conversation summary that I have for you. Okay, so that's a good way to use it. In terms of the summary, if you have a conversation and you want to validate what happened during the conversation, like for example, this one, this is a conversation. I could click in the Copilot summary and I could review a couple of things additionally. I mean, I could ask Copilot about things, but additionally, I could have the transcript identifying who talked each time. I could identify if the conversation was positive, neutral, or negative. For example, here I could identify that the person mentioned something negative or transmit a negative sentiment. So this is really useful because you could review it again, validate what happened. You could identify what were the words that the people used during the conversation. And if you want to review who talked a little bit more or what were the interventions of each person, you could do it as well. So this is really valuable because you could review the conversation later and probably have your additional insight in terms of the conversation. So the integration with Teams is pretty powerful. And again, it's not just for sales, could be for customer service, and it's going to be really useful as well. In the sales process, um, you are going to have basically four things that I want to highlight here. The first one is that you could go to an account and after that, probably you could ask Copilot for a summary of the account, and Copilot is going to review it. It's going to validate probably the website of the company, and it's going to provide you with additional with keynotes or with additional information. If you want, you could get the latest news about the account, and it's going basically Copilot is going to interact with Bing and it's going to validate what's happening with the company. So you could have that in terms of an account. And for example, if you have an opportunity, you could open an opportunity, and Copilot is going to be doing a summary of that opportunity. Let's say that I open this opportunity, and as you can see here, automatically, I even without my intervention, Pilot is doing a summary of this opportunity. It's telling me what's the value, what's the goal of the sum. I mean, it's going to summarizing everything, and I don't have to do much there. Uh, Something that is not Copilot, but I consider that is pretty useful as well. It's going to be paradigms. This is a functionality that you need to activate in CRM, but I think that is pretty useful because it's going to provide you this chart that allows you to see what is going to happen with your opportunities. So it's not Copilot, but let's activate that. So basically, moment you could interact with the pilot in the sales functionality just for getting the opportunity summary. If you have a lead, again, you could open a lead, um, and Copilot is going to do the summary as well. It's going to validate the lead and it's going to provide you the information of that specifically. So that's additionally useful for the sales team. Okay. The last scenario that I want to show you is going to be related with marketing, and it's not related with Copilot directly. It's going to be more related with AI, and with a product called Typeface. We have been using Typeface for a couple of months. I will consider that it's really useful and it's really powerful. Let me show you. You could just get a trial. Actually, I'm running a trial at the moment, today. But our marketing team is already using it some months ago. So if you click in new project, let's say that I have test for a webinar, something like that. So you create a project basically, and you could start with a piece that you want to generate, like for example, a Facebook ad, an Instagram post, Facebook post, a TikTok. I mean, there are a lot of templates here that you could use it, and it's really precise. So, if, let's say that I want to Instagram post, it's going to ask me for a for a goal. Let's say that I want to just promote a car. Let's say that it's going to be a Tesla, and let's say that I want to generate a specific image, and actually it's going to be pretty specific. It's going to be a Tesla car near the beach. So if you want, you could just generate. It's going to generate an image. It's going to generate the hashtag. It's going to generate a test if you want. So as you can see here, it's generating a pretty nice test with hashtags, with with all the elements that probably you're going to need for your Instagram post. And additionally, it's going to generate a chart, an image that is going to be pretty nice. So, and it's going to be specific. It's going to be a nice image, of course. It's going to look like AI, but it's going to be nice as well. So, and additionally, if you want, you could just change things, change, I mean, you could modify the thing, um, or you could add or generate a specific test. Uh, you could upload in typeface your logo, your brand, and when you ask for an image, you could ask typeface include your logo. So if you want to see your logo in any of these images, you could do it as well, and it's going to be really really nice. So I really want to encourage you to use this platform. At least try it. I mean, use a trial and validate if it's something that is going to be useful for you or not, and validate if it's something that could be useful for your company. Last thing, and just to pass it again to Rolfo, but I want to show you here in the Copilot prompts that basically is going to show you all the prompts that are available at the moment in Office or in any app. You could see here Outlook, PowerPoint, Word, and it's going to show you examples, how to use it, what's the prompt. Maybe you don't know how to ask Copilot, so this one is going to be a really good base to start with the prompts and with Copilot. Okay, so basically those are the scenarios that I wanted to show you today. Now I'm going to be passing to Rodolfo, and we are going to be continuing with the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jorge. Now we're going to go back to the presentation. The last thing that Jorge showed is how to ask Copilot or artificial intelligence. And again, it's Copilot, not autopilot. So by being Copilot, you have to learn how to give instructions. So you have to tell, okay, what is it that you're looking for? And give them parameters as of how. So at one moment he was saying, okay, give me something of the powerful wheels, and then he showed a Tesla. But now you can change the parameters and said, well, basically you can say, okay, but give me an image that it's Ford or some other brand, because you don't want the Tesla. So you can, the more parameters you give it, the more accurate it's going to be to what you're looking for. So one of the things is having the objective. The other one is giving the parameters, and eventually then you can you can get the desired results. And at the same time, you have to review the information just to validate, because it's bringing you what they think it's best for you, but you are the only one that really know. So you have to validate a little bit. So now let's go a little into the cost that technology is giving us. So when Outlook came, or email, or Hotmail, or Gmail, something like that, that was awesome how we increased our productivity. And then creating with PowerPoint presentations, all that. But at the same time, all of a sudden you start receiving by media posts and social media, emails, up to a point that's overwhelming. So receiving hundreds of emails per day, and you could do your job just answering emails. And this is why the next level is to make sense of that volume of information, that overflow of information, to make sense out of it, condense it, and based on that condensations, be able to make decisions or make actions. And this is why it's so critical, because now we have from lack of information, before we had to go to libraries to get the information, now it's at the tip of our fingers. But at the same time, there's so much information that now we need kind of summarize it and then make the decisions. And this is why artificial intelligence is so important. Now, talking a little about pricing. And that was last Friday, we did the whole webinar on pricing. But I would say, in a nutshell, it's not that complicated. But I invite you to go there, to go through the recording and understand it. But there, for companies, there are 3 levels of pricing. One is for free. So you can get Copilot for free if you have iOS or Android or your PC. You can download from the store Copilot for free, and you can get a lot of information. You can start doing a lot of get the benefits of Copilot. At the same time, now, if you want it on top of Microsoft 365, as I mentioned, through Office, through Word, through Excel, through PowerPoint, etc., and on a very secure environment, then you would acquire the Copilot. And the price of Copilot is $30 per month. Okay, and there you can not only, with the free version, you can only access the web. With a paid version that gives you obviously the Microsoft 365/Office, you can now look for information within your organization. Jorge was just showing Teams and how within Teams you can summarize the meeting that you had, etc. You would not be able to do that with a free version because obviously you do not have access to your company's information. Obviously, having access to your company's information doesn't give you the right to access any type of information, because with Office, you have certain security levels. It's the same thing with Dynamics. For example, you cannot, if you are an employee, you cannot say, okay, give me all the salaries of everybody within the company. No, that would not be able to, because the way you have configured the security within Office or Dynamics would not allow you to do that. So Copilot would not allow you to get information that you are already not allowed to reach. But at the same time, that's on Office. But now on what Jorge mentioned, to have access to customer service, I have access to sales, I have access to market. There's an additional cost of $20. So you always have to pay the original $30 plus the $20 if you want to access the Dynamics, the CRM, the Dynamics 365 information. You have to pay an additional $20, so a total of $50 per month. But let's say you buy the $30 version to make simple the calculation. I was talking with, I mentioned before, I worked almost 20 years in Microsoft. I know a lot of people. I was talking with the general manager for Microsoft for the Caribbean and Central America. And they said, well, they asked me about what's the return on investment on this? And I said, well, let's say you're a manager. And $30 times 30 days, that's $1 per day. Don't you think you can get enough savings for your company based on your salary for $1 per day? And it is amazing because you can save a lot more per day. So and here are some examples based on U.S. salaries, but you can extrapolate for your own country, where you have, for individual contributor, you have $60,000 per year that makes it, and that bring it down to a monthly. The only need would be 11 minutes that resource saves per day to go to break even. So the return investment is extremely quick. Obviously, the higher your salary, the faster it is for your return on investment. So this is why this is kind of a no-brainer. And obviously, you might start with the management, but also you can look into the different areas of the business through how you can get a good return investment, not only at management level, but also at the individual contributor level, depending on the areas that they are. We talked about customer service, we talked about sales, marketing, human resources, and let's go a little there. And I'm going to give you some examples of how either you can benefit or I have benefited. And let's talk about HR, about drafting the job descriptions. So I want a job description for our IT people, that it is basically a programmer, and doing a job description based on the development tools that I use, this and that, and then we'll give you a very beautiful one. And let me give you a concrete example of what we did internally. We had a consultant that actually put a personal expense in the corporate credit card. The person tried to give us an excuse, was not acceptable, but we realized that our policy was almost non-existent. It was kind of word of mouth, and it would have taken us, a couple of hours to write something out and then go through the different levels of approval up to the chain and to the CEO or the COO, me and myself would approve it. Instead, we told Copilot, build me a policy for expenses for a corporation for this size, and for consulting expenses, blah, blah, blah. So we gave him kind of a speech. Again, it's a one-sentence speech of what we wanted. And it gave us a very detailed 2-page policy on expenses. That was awesome. I want to give you also another personal experience. I have a friend of mine, he's a lawyer. He wrote 26 books, to give you an idea. But technology, he's not savvy, so I'm his IT. He drives me kind of crazy. And he asked me last week, Rodolfo, can you, tell me about backing up my documents? How should I use? How do you give me some apps? So I just told it, okay, Copilot, give me the best ways of backing up the data, and for a hard drive, give me a couple of apps. So it gave me, OneDrive or Dropbox, and then using external drives, the pros and cons, and then using external drives, what were the most common apps. So that it took me 5 minutes. The guy is loving it. He doesn't drive me as crazy. So it's all over the place. On marketing, on marketing, we had the creativity. So it does help you create campaigns, help you create graphics. You can change it. So that first, and that happens a lot in that kind of the first jump into it, which makes it kind of difficult to get our idea straight. That it's amazing how you can build something and then you can start modifying it to your personal needs. And another example, which is more kind of internal, my CEO asked me a few weeks ago, hey, Rodolfo, I want you to please create me a PowerPoint presentation for Friday. I want to talk to the whole company about these topics and be creative. So I said, oh, darn it. I told ChatGPT, Copilot, within PowerPoint, I said, okay, create me, based on that subject, these parameters that he gave me, a couple more that I gave it, and all of a sudden created me about an 8-slide presentation. And within that 8-slide presentation, there were some graphics or drawings or pictures that brought me, and I said, okay, change this one for that, and I like it something like. So I went through 2 or 3 iterations, and I was able to get an awesome presentation. And based on that, he told me immediately, because it was kind of the morning, the afternoon, I had everything done, and within that time, I probably spent maximum maybe half an hour working on it. And he answered with a question, did you use Copilot? And I said, I definitely did. Well, he was proud. I'm using our technology. And one last example with my CEO, that's something that Jorge showed of how to create, and this is more into sales. We had a customer, and based on the information of the customer, he went to that opportunity, the information. And let me give you a little more insights of what you can do with sales and customer service, because when you want to talk to a customer, you want to know if you have open support cases and how difficult they are. Before, you would have to start talking to people and the manager of support, hey, look at all the cases and make sure, or go to the different cases for that company. So now you can go in customer service, give me a summary of all the cases for this customer that are open, and give me a summary of each case of what's going on. So we'll give you instantly. So you read a little story of each one of the cases instead of like before going case by case. You have probably a lot of emails going back and forth, and it would spend an enormous amount of time to see what's going on with that account. And you might have a problem, and you don't want to call the customer and say, hey, I want to sell you something more. And at the same time, the customer said, I'm not buying you anything. I have had this open case for the last 2 weeks and nobody's paying me attention. You're pleased, blah, 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 blah. And it's very embarrassing. On the other hand, if you have it and you look into it, oh, I have this open case, let me see the summary, what's going on. I can talk to people and say, hey, by tomorrow solve it, because I need to talk with the customer. So those are common cases that happens, but you're looking into customer service and you're looking into sales. So going back to this customer, we had a situation, we looked into it, and we need to send an update to the customer and a request. I'm not going to go for privacy reasons. I'm not going into the details, but the only thing is, hey, Rodolfo, was Hector Negron, he's also please read it. What do you think about it? And I think it's a little long. It could be a little more concise. And he said, okay, Rodolfo, do it. And I said, no, we're sitting together. Let's go to Copilot. And the only thing he had to do is take this document and make it more concise. And whoa, lo and behold, it was beautiful. We didn't have even to touch it because it had all the premise, had all the information. As a matter of fact, it had a little too much information, and it made it beautiful. Send it to a customer, no problem. Extremely professional. That's what sales can do. You can look into information. For example, you're a sales manager and you want to know the key opportunities, how they're doing. Instead of, again, going to the CRM or asking the people, you can say, give me a summary of each one. So that's amazing. On IT too, and I'm going even further on IT. We were with a company that we work with. They're one solution that we sell a lot, and it's a very, very big organization. And I asked them about Copilot for GitHub. GitHub is kind of the bread and butter of the development community that Microsoft acquired a few years ago and keeps improving it dramatically. But now there's a Copilot for that. And they said, you can tell Copilot, again, I want to develop a code that does this and that, and it offers you kind of some basic approach that you can, again, use it as a base and keep developing exactly what you want. And on top of that, it gives you test scenarios, because one thing that's really boring for developers is looking on how to test that code that you have made. And what they said, okay, we have 200 developers, and what we have decided, it's well, first, the quality is much better, and second, it makes our people more efficient. So obviously they're not thinking of hiring anybody, but what they're thinking of is, okay, we can slow down in the process of hiring people, because once you hire people, the learning curve is quite dramatically. And you have to, well, dramatic in the sense that it takes a lot of time until they learn on how you program your different products that you do, understanding and all that. It takes a long time. But now, if you take each one of your resources and you empower them to be more productive and more quality efficient, that's a win-win. And finally, for finance, in finance, you can take, for example, an Excel that has all the typical financial information, and you can say, okay, based on that, make me a document that gives you the key insights, the key performance indicator, tell them, and make me a story out of it. And it can create, for example, a document, a Word document with it, or an email. And now you can say, based on that Word document, you can say, okay, now make me a PowerPoint presentation. So we'll take that document, that Word document, and it will give you, as I mentioned before, slides. But you cannot put all the wording into the PowerPoint presentation, obviously, because otherwise it would be unmanageable to the presentation like that. So it gives you just a very high level points, and it's a very good presentation, but it does give you in each one of those slides, based on the document that they took, it will give you what you should say. So that the notes, the script of what you want to do in each one of those. So that's also amazing how it does it. And it brings kind of exactly what the information that you got it from, but it recommends you something different to make it more storytelling and not kind of maybe type of worthy document that you have. So it is, again, amazing what you can do also on finance. And then you can also start working on those spreadsheet and that data with Excel. And there's also for Power BI, for Copilot, that also helps you enhance the finance for Copilot. And with that, we're going to go, and I could give you many more examples that we use it internally. So as I said, I cannot work nowadays without Copilot, and it does help us in the different areas within the company. And personally, I might say I'm not really creative as of poems, and a few months ago, I told Copilot to create a poem for my wife for her birthday. I said I put ingredients from her life since we met and all that. I told to make it funny, and it was amazing. And obviously, I had to confess that it was Copilot that I used, but she was still very happy of my, between quotes, creativity. So that's just a final funny note of the power of Copilot even to create a personal poem. And finally, as I mentioned, we had several webinars in the last couple of weeks, and this is the next to last. The last one will be in a couple of days on June 12th, where we're going to cover food and beverage. But if you go to YouTube, here you can get the other webinars. You can send us an email if you have any other questions